We are in an exciting time in drug development in lymphomas. And in the 17th ICML at Lugano this year, we are presenting an ongoing clinical trial, the REMoDL-A, in the focus on sessions in the conference. And I have the privilege of being the first author for the team. Now, we all know that R-CHOP chemoimmunotherapy has been the bedrock of treatment for newly diagnosed diffuse large B-cell lymphomas for many years now. But what we know also is that outcomes have generally stagnated, with nearly 40% of patients not benefiting from this treatment in the short to medium term. Understanding the molecular biology of diffuse large B-cell lymphomas has become the cornerstone of new strategies that are being evaluated. And we feel that the distinct molecular pathophysiology is the area which needs to be exploited to develop new treatments. Now, REMoDL-A is a phase II open-label randomized controlled trial, which is evaluating the role of the second-generation BTK inhibitor, Acalabrutinib, in addition to R-CHOP, standard R-CHOP, in newly diagnosed diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. Now, if you look at the history of BTK inhibitors in diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, an earlier study, the Phoenix trial, which evaluated ibrutinib, a first-generation drug with R-CHOP, failed to meet its primary endpoint. But what was interesting from this trial was that in patients who were younger than 60 years, there was a clear 10% survival benefit. And in the old, there were unanticipated toxicities due to ibrutinib. And we also noticed that there were benefits in the different molecular subtypes, including the double hit subtype of diffuse large B-cell lymphoma in those who received ibrutinib along with R-CHOP. Now, basis this, we had a precursor study to REMoDL-A, the ACCEPT trial, which was a phase 1b, phase 2 study, which demonstrated that acalabrutinib, in addition to the R-CHOP chemoimmunotherapy backbone, was well tolerated with no new safety concerns, regardless of age. Now, efficacy was preserved across genomic subgroups, including the GCB and ABC subtypes and cell of origin subtype of lymphoma. So naturally, the next step we took was to design the REMoDL-A study. Now, this is primarily because acalabrutinib is a second-generation BTK inhibitor. It is more selective and more potent and potentially less toxic. And this is a United Kingdom National Cancer Research Institute multi-center clinical trial with close to 38 sites active now. We are expecting 50 trials to be activated soon, and is coordinated by the Southampton Clinical Trials Unit and supported by an investigator-initiated grant from AstraZeneca and endorsed by the Cancer Research UK. So what happens in this trial, as I told earlier, it's an open-label trial, and all patients who are found screen eligible and have a stage from stage 1AX to stage 4 across IPI subgroups who are found eligible and recruited receive one cycle of R-CHOP upfront, and while the tumor biopsies are sent to a central lab for gene expression profiling. Based on this, patients are then stratified in a 2:1 randomization to the experimental arm, and this is based on IPI, age, and molecular subgroup. And the experimental arm patients receive R-CHOP standard chemotherapy along with acalabrutinib 100 milligrams twice a day. The primary endpoint of this trial is progression-free survival in the intent to treat treatment subgroup. Now, we have had an interim analysis and several DMEC meetings, which have found that this study can continue to recruit. We are having robust recruitments, but we have had a slight slowdown in the recent past with the NICE, the UK NICE approving polatuzumab in addition to the standard of care of R-CHOP in patients diagnosed with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. Now, this was essentially based on the POLARIX study, which saw a marginal yet significant improvement in progression-free survival. And based on this new addition to the standard of care, our clinical trial is undergoing a redesign to accommodate the new realities. As I told you earlier, this is an exciting time. We are seeing so many new drugs being frontlined in the treatment of diffuse large B-cell lymphomas. These include BiTE molecules like glofitamab and epcoritamab. So we are seeing very exciting new clinical trials in the newly diagnosed subset of diffuse large B-cell lymphomas. So this is a space to watch out in the coming years.